From the Keiser Report, Stacy Herbert and Max Keiser. Hello. I'm excited that you guys are in the whatever library area where you do your show that I watch on RT.
Oh, yeah. We live in this little nook. This is our orange pill nook.
And these are famous right now, these block clocks. I don't know if you saw that whole controversy yesterday.
No.
Yeah, well, when Jack Dorsey was speaking before Congress or testifying before Congress, he had one of these clocks behind him. And you really have to be in the know to know what these are. And this is basically a Bitcoin block clock. So it records quite a few things, including if it's plugged in. Ours is not plugged in, as you see. But it records, the latest block size. It records how much the price of Bitcoin. It also it'll put up a symbol of like how much Satoshis you get for $1. And so Jack was giving his testimony. And, those blue check conspiracy theorists who are all Russiagate, well, they happened upon it and thought it was just a normal clock and saw 1952 on it, which was how many Satoshis you get for $1. And they thought that was because it was 9:52 in the morning in California, that he had it set to Moscow time and that this was a big conspiracy theory. But everybody in the Bitcoin community, of course, did chuckle because we immediately knew what this was. Ours says permanently hello because the guy who makes it, who's on Twitter at NVK, he won't help us set it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good that the blue check Russiagators got something to be dumb about on the internet. I'm so excited for that. Well, I wanted to bring. I've been watching your show for a while, and then I saw you recently on the Jimmy Dore show. Jimmy's a friend of mine. I've been on that show a lot, but I really wanted to because I've since last summer have been educating myself more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general, and so I started watching more shows that talk about it. Your show, they talk about it on Boom Bust. I've had Christy I on this show a couple times, and I'm just trying to educate. As I'm educating myself, I want to educate my audience more about it because the Fed just printing trillions of dollars, like this is insane. This is insane to me, and I'm sure to you. So I first wanted to ask though, when did the two of you learn about Bitcoin? And what was your initial reaction when you first heard about it?
Well, Stacy booked a guest on the Keiser Report named John Matonis back in 2011, who contacted us and said, "Hey, I want to come on your show and talk about Bitcoin." And Stacy said to me, "This guy has something that sounds like what you were doing in Los Angeles with the Hollywood Stock Exchange, a virtual currency." So he came on the show. He told us about Bitcoin. I clicked into it right away because it was similar to a project that I had been working on back in the mid-90s in Los Angeles. And so we started buying it when it was $1, and we started talking about it when it was $1. At that time, we were very into gold, and the gold crowd really hated us talking about Bitcoin. It was like Bob Dylan suddenly going electric at the Montreux Jazz Festival or Folk Festival or whatever the case was. And so that's how it all started.
And so then, and you've watched it. I mean, I was just talking to a friend of mine who got into Bitcoin around 2011 about, back then there weren't any real exchanges. Like it was very more, seemed more fly by night back then. And as you've watched it now, 10 years later, especially since it was right around a year ago when the markets crashed because of COVID and it dropped down to about 3,800 and now we're trading it. I don't know, to this morning it was 53 or 54,000 or something like that. How have you seen this change? Just not just America, but just finance and currency in general.
I think it kind of has changed. The biggest change has been in people themselves, society, groups of people, the Bitcoin community. has been there's been a remarkable change in that since 2011. It's always been filled with freaks and geeks from the very beginning, and that was the very first. As Max said, he and I had been reporting on the gold market and had attended quite a few gold conferences, and they were mostly older boomer guys in suits and at posh locations speaking about gold. Then we went to Max spoke at the very first ever Bitcoin conference in 2011. And as soon as we walked in, we were like, what the heck who are these people? They were all hackers, geeks, computer programmers. The guy who had arranged it was one of the very earliest Bitcoin core devs called Amir Taki. And, at the time when he was hosting this event, this Bitcoin conference in Prague, he greeted us at the door of the hotel, and he was like, his eyes wide open, and he hadn't slept for 3 days, he said, because he thought that was a social construct, that the elite were just tricking us into sleeping. And we were like, okay, these are normal people. So those people are still there. If you go onto Bitcoin Twitter, you'll see them. And, that's kind of what drove me to the whole space. Max had a background in creating virtual currencies and was maybe more intellectually involved in those early days. But the freaky community is what just appealed to me. Just all these freaks and the reaction online. So the very first episode we ever posted of our show with that guest, John Matonis, I think it was April of 2011 that we posted it to YouTube. And the reaction was so negative in the comment section that, unlike anything we had ever had before, that it really triggered me to what am I missing about this thing, Bitcoin? It must be, if it caused that much of a reaction, there must have been something I missed, how important it is. And I'm glad we stuck with it because it's obviously done well.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at grahamelwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.